an honor and a privilege to welcome you to this international conference on second language writing, organized by our research laboratory in collaboration with the Department of English and presided by our colleagues, dear Fatim Zahra, Dr. Fatim Zahra Belkhair and Dr. Wafa Zakri. We are really so delighted to welcome you to this academic gathering and kindly invite you to the deepening of a shared vision about the ways of exploring issues related to second language writing. Allow me please to address my heartfelt thankfulness to the presidents of this event, who worked tirelessly to make this conference well organized and possible. I also appreciate the efforts of the organizing and scientific committees, and special thanks are offered to our keynote speakers and guests from Algeria and the other countries, and encourage each one of this academic community to actively participate, challenge and exchange ideas and build networks that will extend well beyond this virtual conference, inshallah.
Continuous support and giant guidance in guiding us all time and at any time. Now I would say to our esteemed honorary chairs a big thank you for your esteemed presence in gracing the opening of this online international conference and for highlighting the way forward by your vision, encouragement and support. Officer Zeruni, we are...
I don't know if this is gonna let me open this. Okay. Hold on a second. I thought this was set. It seems like maybe it's not. Here, put your this. Yeah, we want teachers form us to in fall. Make their another did. This is what I need using it and to think about. So again, thank you very much for inviting me, Fatima. Here is my email if people would like to stay in touch. I was very happy to be invited to be a part of this, and I will hand the floor back over to you. Thank you.
Can you confirm that?
Yeah, we can see. By the way, I'd like also to thank Mrs. Maureen for this presentation. Yes. And for your insightful topic that really goes with the Algerian context as second language writers. And this may have showed your familiarity now with our students and the Algerian context as well as English language learning and teaching is concerned. Thank you so much, Mrs. Maureen.
Thank you, Maureen, for your presentation. I agree that culture cannot be left away or ignored when teaching a language, mainly a foreign or a second language. I also believe that making a lot of drafts and creating drafts maybe could be way better than doing brainstorming on your head. It was nice to have you among us for one year in our department and to be with us online today. Now we've got almost 10 minutes left to be able to join our keynote session. Stay with us in this room. We will have a short break and we'll all be back to the same room that we are in to welcome our keynote speakers that will be moderated by Dr. Fatim Zahra Belkhair. See you all in a few minutes.
Linguistics at the University of Algeria in Algeria, whose scholarly work focuses largely on academic writing, discourse analysis, and argumentation theory. Presenting her speech entitled The Changing Ecology of Second Language Writing, Insight from Learners and Teachers' Perspectives on Academic Writing. Dear Professor Drid Presentation, we are very honored to have you today, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much, Dr. Fatima Zahra Belkhair, for that introduction. It's really an honor for me to be among you today. I would like first to express my sincere gratitude to the University of Tlemcen for hosting this event. Also, I address my thanks to the conference presidents, you, Dr. Belkhair and Dr. Zakri, for inviting me, and for all the efforts that you have made in order to render this event a reality. I'll try to share my presentation. Well, yeah, can you see my slide? I try to use the full screen mode.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, so today I'll be presenting a paper titled The Changing Ecology of Second Language Writing, Insights from Learners and Teachers' Experiences with Multimodal Academic Writing. In this paper, I will discuss the concept of the ecology of writing and highlight the importance of this approach through a case study. In order to begin, I will rely on a familiar scene in our classrooms. It's a common task that recurs across settings, across disciplines, and even across time. An instructor asking a student to demonstrate knowledge on a given subject. In the past, for decades, the form of the task was clear-cut and stable. For instance, a written research paper or an oral presentation. Here, the nature of the task was clear-cut, and the instructors agreed on what counted as academic performance and how the task should be taught or assessed. Today, if we look at the right of the slide, the same request would look very different. The students are asked to prepare digital presentations, multimodal presentations. They often use PowerPoint, and they resort to multiple semiotic resources like written text, spoken explanation, visuals, spatial and gestural tools. And here the students use all the available strategies that are sometimes invisible to their instructors. Meanwhile, the teacher's treatment of this genre might be variable. They may take them as written texts or oral performances, or simply as technical displays. So in this situation, we can see that a new form of writing is there, and the learners are trying to find their way to perform well, while the teachers are attempting to develop suitable teaching and assessment practices with many cautions and uncertainties in mind. Now, what does this situation imply for writing pedagogy? I suggest in this paper that this uncertainty is not a practical problem alone. It is a theoretical one. I highlight three issues. Firstly, as you see here in my slide, what does it mean to write when knowledge is constructed across modes? It is multimodal. And how should writing instruction respond to this shift? And finally, what theoretical framework can embrace this changing picture? And in order to illustrate these questions, I will draw on a case study that examines EFL learners and teachers' experiences with multimodal EFL learners and teachers' experiences with multimodal academic writing, specifically academic presentations. The purpose of this case is not descriptive. Rather, it will serve as a lens through which we can explore broader theoretical questions about multimodal academic tasks, seen as new writing forms. And also, and most importantly, we can derive insights that would inform second language writing instruction in higher education. Here I will give you some background on the notion of the ecology of writing in order to understand why multimodal writing is so challenging to assess and to teach. In fact, we can use the lens, the ecological lens. Originally, the notion of ecology is a subfield of biology, which focuses on the relationship between living organisms and their environment or their ecosystem. And the notion has been borrowed to education and to writing research, to literacy in general, and particularly to writing research. Well, the ecology of writing, which has developed later into eco-composition, is a post-process approach that rejects the view that writing is a cognitive process, a linear or a universal process, and it emphasizes that writing environments shape writing practices. Well, it considers, as Dr. Kenan has explained earlier, writing as a situated practice embedded in contexts, and it is socially constructed. Here we can draw on a wonderful metaphor developed by Marilyn Cooper. It is the metaphor of a web, imagining writing as taking place within a web, as you see in my diagram, that consists of systems. Well, the system of ideas, the system of purposes, the system of interactions, the system of cultural norms, and the system of textual forms. If you touch one strand in the web, for instance, in our case, the introduction of a digital technology or a multimodal assignment or whatever, the whole web vibrates. And this means that a change in the mode of writing, in our case, for instance, from text only to multimodal, reshapes, and this is what we'll see through the case study, pedagogical practices and how we define academic performance. Well, let's here give you some information about the case study itself. We have established the theoretical web, the idea that one element reshapes everything, changes in one element will reshape everything. Here I want to take you to the local context to see these vibrations in action. And to do this, we move to the theory from the theory of ecology to a case study conducted at Qasdi Marbah University. This study focuses on 45 master's level EFL students enrolled at the English department for the present academic year, and 5 teachers of different modules, their teachers. We have chosen multimodal presentations specifically because they are the perfect example of a new academic genre that challenges the traditional definitions of writing. And as you see in my slide, I have 2 objectives. The first objective of the study is to explore the students' experiences, composing practices, and perceptions of academic presentations as multimodal writing tasks. And at the same time, this is done through a questionnaire. Then, at the same time, to examine the teacher's beliefs, instructional practices, and assessment approaches toward presentations as academic writing using a mixed methods design. So it's quantitative and qualitative at the same time. And the ultimate goal is to see how the vibrations in the writing web affect pedagogical and assessment choices. Now, coming to the results, the first part of the results are drawn from the students' questionnaire. The questionnaire involved several items, multiple choice questions, items, and Likert scale items. The questionnaire covers 8 areas, starting with the participant profile and experience, of course, and exploring the learning pathways that the students follow in order to write their multimodal presentations, their sources of knowledge they rely on in order to produce this genre, the authorial control, that is to say, the extent to which they are responsible for their texts, and the type of external support they use, whether it's a technical tool or somebody else. Also, the questionnaire investigates the use of artificial intelligence as a mediational support, in addition to the multimodal writing practices and genre awareness. And finally, there are two items that explore the teacher's feedback and the way the students see the teacher's feedback and the guidance needs, their guidance needs. Well, I'm not going to go into the percentages and means, because the study itself is not descriptive, but I will rely on the insights that have been drawn. The questionnaire of the students reveals that multimodal presentations are routine and well-established practice within the local academic ecology. And the learning pathways, here the students rely on hybrid pathways. The sources of knowledge they draw on are mostly, the sources of knowledge, well, I said, sorry for the interruption. Students rely on online resources principally, followed by teachers' informal explanations. The authorial control, the extent to which the students author really their texts. Here, the participants perceive themselves as active authors, and while they seek support and consultation, and also they use technical assistance, and they accept this. The artificial intelligence is used moderately for some in some aspects of writing, like summarizing or reformulating content, but not as a substitute for authorship. The practices, the writing practices in general, that is to say, the design of the visuals here. In fact, the students go far in these practices, and they sometimes, and this is what we'll see through the results from the teachers, they outperform the teachers. But the students do not view presentations as established academic writing genres. The teachers' feedback, the students here report that teachers' feedback most often focuses on written language quality and slight organization, with less attention given to visuals, authorship, or AI use. They expect their teachers to give them guidance on assessment criteria, on clear assessment criteria, and the academic use of visuals and how to use AI responsibly. Well, now the teachers' insights tell us a lot about their conceptualizations of the academic presentations. Across the data, the teachers conceptualize presentations as complex tasks rather than purely oral tasks. Multimodal presentations are taken as a distinct academic genre. So this is according to the beliefs of the teachers. Their practices, the teachers report that they provide varying degrees of explicit pedagogical guidance when assigning academic presentations. And this suggests that while teachers recognize the need for instruction, their pedagogical visual meaning making, a strong theme that recurs in the data concerns the academic function of visuals. The teachers clearly distinguish between the visuals that are decorative and those that are explanatory. So the visuals are seen to be supporting aids rather than written scripts. And for the teachers, the students' authorship, the next aspect, the teachers accept the use of technical assistance and external design tools if the students keep being responsible for their content. Now, concerning the use of AI and digital tools, the teachers agree that these tools have become common and unavoidable, and they differentiate between acceptable uses of these tools and unacceptable ones. Their feedback and assessment, the next aspect. The teachers claim that they assess presentations using multiple criteria, well-defined criteria, but their assessment practices vary. There is variance here among the interviewed teachers. Finally, the institutional conditions. The teachers report receiving limited institutional guidance on assessing multimodal academic writing and the absence of shared assessment frameworks and minimal professional development opportunities. Now, I will try to triangulate the findings. According to the qualitative and the quantitative data, we notice some convergences and some asymmetries between the teachers and the learners. Of course, all this is like an ecology. I am describing a local ecology. What is common between the teachers is that they view academic presentations as hybrid. They are considered multimodal forms of academic writing, and they believe that authorship is distributed between the student or the learner himself and external resources. And also they agree on accepting technology-enhanced AI and supporting tools when used responsibly. But what is important in the findings is the asymmetries that exist between teachers and learners. Teachers hold clearer theoretical conceptions of multimodal presentations, but the students show greater competence with multimodality and digital practices. And this is a fact that we see in our daily classrooms. The students adapt faster to multimodal demands than pedagogy and assessment frameworks. The students are uncertain about the academic status of multimodal presentations, and the genre expectations and assessment criteria are often implicit or inconsistent for the students. The teachers, on the other hand, report adequate assessment intentions, and this is not the picture that we have obtained from the students. While the students experience feedback, here in fact the students see that feedback is narrowly focused and not even. And finally, an important insight is that the responsibility for directing multimodal writing falls on the students. And this tells us a lot. The overall interpretation of these findings is that there is a strong convergence in beliefs, but divergence in execution. The gap is institutional and systemic, not motivational or competence-based. Also, the students' beliefs are not yet supported by a stable pedagogy, assessment, or policy. This brings me to the conclusion of my presentation. I want to leave you with a final look at the adaptation gap that we have noticed in the local ecology. This is revealed by our case study. And also I want to go beyond. Here you see in my diagram, there are implications that are local, but most importantly, I will derive implications that take a global perspective. So if we look at the gap that we have noticed between the learners and the teachers and the institutional context, we can reframe this within a wider framework. We realize here that it's not an isolated issue. What we have observed in this context is not an isolated issue. What we are witnessing is in fact an ecological disturbance. So if we adopt the ecology of writing perspective, this is considered as an ecological disturbance in the world of second language writing, which is due to the introduction of a new genre or touching one of the strengths of the web. Well, when the environment changes, as it is the case with the spread of digital technologies, the entire web vibrates. So it's no longer enough to teach textual features alone. And here we must now teach our students to be architects of multimodal meaning. So that's to say, teachers and institutions should assume more responsibility and shouldn't leave anything to chance. Now, the path forward, therefore, is not about fixing one specific assignment. It is about a being systemically ready. It is systemic readiness. We need to move away from responding to these changes in isolation and start building a more coherent writing pedagogy. This requires us to embrace explicit multimodal pedagogy and also to create flexible assessment frameworks that value the diverse ways of our students, the various ways our students use to communicate. And finally, by developing our institutions to match the reality of our learners, we ensure that the writing ecosystem remains a space where both teachers and students can truly grow. This is the final word I come to. Thank you for your attention and any questions.
Thank you very much. All right, Professor Drid Presentation, and we are extremely honored to have you in this plenary session presenting your keynote speech that proves to be a very providing and provoking insights to the conference theme of today, especially that you have tackled various angles from the multimodal academic writing approach, and we are sure that we should consider this in our teaching practices in the EFL classroom as to writing.
You are most welcome.
So now,
something on negative transfer.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Well,
of course.
So, as I see it, as a teacher of writing for quite a long time and researcher in the field, negative transfer can be better understood if we look at it from a second language acquisition perspective, the nature of transfer itself. In fact, for second language acquisition specialists, transferring a norm from L1 and using it in L2 at any level of language, phonological or syntactic or even textual, is just the first option for the learner in the absence of an alternative. It is something to start with, that is to say, transferring something that the learner already knows about L1 in order to embark on learning an aspect of L2. So it's only a first option. And we may look at it as problematic, but we can in fact take it just as a natural step in the learning process, in learning writing. Well, there are several ways of reducing this mismatch between what we know already about our native languages and how we are going to take new languages or second languages. Well, I advocate, as Dr. Kenan said earlier, immersing the learners or exposing learners to the new genres, and that's the most, let's say, I take it as a very efficient way of eliminating previous habits. When I say habits, I'm using, of course, a behaviorist term, but I see that it's applicable to our situation. So exposure to L1, more exposure to L2, I mean, can reduce the effect of a negative transfer. Sometimes explicit instruction and especially comparison between different languages can highlight the problematic areas and can lead the learner to discover the complexities of a second language. So these are my insights on possible ways to at least reduce the effect of L1 on L2 writing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Drid, for these practical suggestions
You're
and
welcome.
recommendations on highlighting these inter-language similarities and differences. And the best way is to do it implicitly, as you said, in order to raise our learners' awareness on this negative transfer and make them learn when it is positive. So this is very interesting.
Thank you.
If there is anyone else that you had text anything, let's check before proceeding. Yes, so we have Zainab Abid. Okay, given another question. It reads, in what way can we as EFL teachers foster our students' motivation and confidence of academic writing skills in the living era of AI intervention? So I think it is Professor Drid who can answer this because you have mentioned something about AI in your speech and students, learners' motivation to write and implementation of this 21st century technology in our classes.
Well, AI is there. It's among us, living among our students. Our students are becoming natives, digital native speakers. Many studies, experimental studies, show that students outperform the instructors in using AI tools. I believe that a more disciplined use of AI tools should not be to ban this use because it's already there. In fact, an alternative is to guide. It is to guide the learners on how to use the